Some of the biggest threats out there aren't these brand new sophisticated attacks. Nope. A lot of the time, they're the risks we create ourselves. Just by standing still. Today, we're talking about unsupported software. It's this quiet, creeping problem that can literally push your entire organization over a digital cliff edge. So let's get right to it and take a look over that edge, shall we?
Okay, picture this. You're walking a tightrope. Underneath you, there's this big, strong safety net. That net, that's the support you get from your software company. All the patches, the updates, the security fixes. But what happens if all of a sudden someone just yanks that net away? You're still up there on the rope, but now a single slip isn't just a scare, it's catastrophic.
And listen, this is not some theoretical what-if scenario way off in the future. Oh no, there is a hard date circled on the calendar. Get this, October 14th, 2025. That's the day Microsoft stops providing free security updates for Windows 10. For millions, and I mean millions of businesses, that safety net we just talked about, it's scheduled to vanish. The clock is absolutely ticking.
All right, so let's dig in. What exactly is this digital cliff edge? Well, we're talking about something called end-of-life software, or EOL for short. Now, here's something a lot of people get wrong. End-of-life doesn't mean your computer is just going to stop working one day. It'll still boot up, your apps will still run, but here's the kicker. The company that made it has basically washed its hands of the whole thing. No more fixes, no more security patches, no more help. From a security point of view, you are completely, totally on your own. And guess who loves it when you're on your own? The bad guys. This brings us to the biggest, most immediate danger of all. You're basically leaving the front door to your entire digital world wide open with a welcome mat out for attackers. I mean, listen to this quote. It really says it all. For cybercriminals, unsupported systems are a gold mine. Think about that. Not just an opportunity, a gold mine. Why? Because attackers know these old systems have holes, and, this is the important part, they know for a fact that those holes are never going to get fixed. It's like a target that never moves, just waiting to be hit. And look, this isn't just scaremongering. We have seen this movie before, and we know how it ends. Remember when Windows XP support ended back in 2014? Attacks against those systems went through the roof. Fast forward to 2024, the massive Change healthcare breach, which cost nearly $3 billion. Yeah, that came from an unpatched system. And just to hammer the point home, in early 2025, a company called CISO basically told its customers, hey, we know there are major security flaws in our old routers, but we're not going to fix them. The pattern here is impossible to ignore. But you know what? The damage doesn't stop with just getting hacked. The financial and legal consequences can be an absolute nightmare. Doing nothing about this stuff comes with a seriously steep price tag. We're talking millions of dollars in fines, not to mention a loss of customer trust that you just can't put a number on. See, if you're in an industry with strict rules, think healthcare with HIPAA or finance or really any company that deals with European data under GDPR, using unsupported software isn't just risky, it's often a flat-out violation of the law. And trust me, regulators don't want to hear excuses. They have one question: are you protecting your data? And if you're running on an EOL system, the answer is always a big fat no. So let's talk real numbers. What does that no actually cost you? Under GDPR, a major violation can hit you with a fine of up to 20 million euros, or, and this is the one that should really keep you up at night, 4% of your company's entire global revenue. Meanwhile, over in the US, a health system just got slapped with a $4.75 million settlement because, you guessed it, they were running unsupported software. These aren't just slaps on the wrist. For a lot of businesses, a fine like this is a potential knockout punch. Okay, but it gets worse. You might be sitting there thinking, well, that's what we pay for cyber insurance for, right? Wrong. Think again. Insurance companies are now looking for any reason to deny a claim, and running unsupported software, that's become their get-out-of-jail-free card. It's the perfect excuse for them to not pay up. And this isn't a guess. This is taken from a real-life case. A company's claim was denied, and the reason was buried in the fine print. Their policy required, and I'm quoting here, maintained and supported operating systems. Bam. Just like that, their EOL software made their entire insurance policy worthless right at the moment they desperately needed it. So now, you're not just facing the cost of cleaning up the breach and the huge regulatory fines. You're paying for it all yourself. Okay, I know, that's a lot of doom and gloom. The risks are huge, they're scary, and they come from all directions. So the big question is, what on earth do you do about it? Well, the good news is you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's a proven, battle-tested framework that can guide you through this. This isn't about just winging it and hoping for the best. The absolute gold standard here is something called the NIST Risk Management Framework, or RMF. Just think of it like a playbook, a step-by-step guide from the National Institute of Standards and Technology. It's designed to get everyone in the organization, from the tech folks to the CEO, on the exact same page when it comes to managing risk. So, how does it work? Well, the RMF breaks it all down into 6 pretty straightforward steps. First, you prepare. You get your arms around the problem. Then you categorize your systems. Which ones are critical, which ones are less so. Next, you select the right security controls for the job. After that, you implement those controls and then assess them to make sure they're actually working. Step 5 is crucial. A leader has to formally authorize the system, which means they're officially signing off on any leftover risk. And finally, you monitor all the time, because this isn't a one-and-done project. It's a continuous cycle. All right, so with that framework as our guide, what are the real-world choices for a company looking at that Windows 10 deadline? When you strip it all away, it really comes down to 3 main paths you can take. Okay, option 1, and honestly the best one, is to migrate. Just move everything to a supported system, like Windows 11. It's the clean solution. You're compliant, you get all the new security goodies, and your insurance company stays happy. Yeah, it takes some planning and some cash up front, but it solves the problem. Option 2 is to buy what are called extended security updates, or ESUs. This is basically paying Microsoft to keep sending you security patches for a little while longer. Think of it as a temporary Band-Aid. It's better than nothing, for sure, but it gets expensive, it's not a forever solution, and some regulators might still give you the side eye. Then there's option 3, the high-stakes gamble, accept the risk. This is where you just keep using the old software and try to build a fortress around it with other tools. But let me tell you, this path is incredibly risky, and funnily enough, it can end up costing you more in the long run than just upgrading in the first place. And that brings us to the single most important thing to take away from all this. Cybersecurity, especially something like this, isn't a tech problem for the IT department to figure out. It is a business risk that needs to be managed. It impacts your finances, your legal team, your reputation, everything. It demands a strategic decision right from the top. So the final question isn't, what's the IT team going to do? The real question you have to ask is our entire organization truly prepared to manage this?